guest here, Bobby Kummer from Mercer, a guy I know very well who I worked with for 3 years at Lamar. Was recently voted the number one assistant coach in the Southern Conference. Year two, Mercer. What's up, BK? How you doing, man?
I'm good, Coach Burton. How you doing?
It's good, man. Good to see you, man. Congrats on
Good
a
to see
great start
you.
to the year. I'll let
Thank you.
Kevin kind of tip this thing off, and I'll get out of the way for a little bit.
Yeah, Coach, appreciate you hopping on. I think my first question, we've heard a lot all offseason about, first year coaches and things that they're dealing with in the pandemic. But, given how important that year one to year two is for programs as you're trying to build a culture and you're trying to establish something, what have been your takeaways from working through that process this year? And obviously you guys have done a pretty good job of it with a 5-0 start.
It is challenging. You just want to keep the guys engaged. That's the biggest thing we felt like we had to do. We've been fortunate, knock on wood, that we've been pretty healthy. So we've been able to practice every day, and I think that's a huge key. Where some schools are struggling right now because their practices are just so much in flux. You got guys that haven't practiced in 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden have to come out and play a game in 3 days, and that's really difficult to do. But we've been fortunate. Like I said, we've stayed healthy. Uh, we've got a good group of kids. We had 3 guys sit out last year that are very good players for us. So they've been in the system, and they kind of know the expectations of what we're looking for.
Yeah, obviously the offense has been clicking on all cylinders. 79 points or more in every single game so far this season, including I think 86 in the big win over Georgia State. The shooting is what really pops out. How are you guys able to get so many looks for shooters? And they've certainly been able to knock them down so far, haven't they?
Well, Greg's offense is really good. We're running very similar stuff that they ran at Purdue. I mean, he kind of ran the offense at Purdue. So we're doing the same actions here. And the one thing when we first started working for him, we figured out real quickly he likes shooters. So that's something we really try to recruit because that fits his system very well. And when we can create the spacing like we've had, and our guys have been very unselfish at sharing the basketball. And that's one thing we talked about. It doesn't matter who scores the ball. Let's just get the best shot possible, and let's put these guys in position where they're going to get open looks because we feel confident they're going to knock it in.
And how much has Alvarez, adding him at point guard, how much has that impacted your offense this year? Obviously, he was a guy that I was very familiar with at Fairfield, could really score, really shifty. How has he taken to running a team for you guys?
He's done a very good job. I think the best thing that's helped him with him having to sit out last year and actually being a part of the system but not fully thrown in the system. So he's got his feet wet with it. So this isn't brand new for him. And he just brings a tremendous amount of speed of what we didn't have last year. His athleticism on both sides of the ball. He really defends well. He can get up and pressure you, but then he's also able to get the ball, get us in our offense quicker. And, that's the key with the point guard. If he can start your offense quicker, get you into stuff, man, he just sets the tone for the rest of those guys.
I'm going to jump in here, BK. Obviously, know you well. You were the associate head coach when we worked for Coach Price, and we had to change the culture. Let's be very direct. They had won 4 games when we came in. I think Coach is on an average of like 20 wins a year now over at Lamar. So tell us, what have you taken? You've been a part of other programs as well. You specifically in your role there at Mercer, and then how has Coach done such a good job, similar to Coach Price, and just turning it around so fast? I mean, I think that's the part where people would have expected Coach Gary to do great things. He comes from Purdue. He's been successful where he's been, but to do it in such a quick amount of time. You guys won last year, and it was kind of like one of those like, okay, well, they're winning a little bit ahead of what we thought, but now you guys are off to such a hot start and have had such great wins and playing such high-level basketball. What can you speak kind of about that?
Well, with Greg, it's very simple. There's no gray areas. And his big thing he always talks about it with our guys is just do your job. Whatever your job is, you do your job. If your job is to screen, if your job is to rebound, if your job is to shoot, if your job is just to play hard every day and practice, do your job and great things will happen. Um, he's not a guy that has a ton of rules. He keeps it very simple. He's very direct. There's not a whole lot of mind games played. we all played ball on our staff. Kim Lewis played at Tulane, DJ Bird played at Purdue, Greg played at Tulane, I played at Charlotte, and so he's kind of kept it like, hey, let's keep it like when we played. We want to be around coaches that we enjoy being around, and we want to have guys that we enjoy being around, and let's just get some good dudes. Let's play hard and do our job, and we're going to win some games.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Talk a little bit about BK, about your team. What's made this team well? I know you talked about the 3-point shooting. Kevin talked about you guys averaging almost 80 points a game in the games you played so far. Obviously, you guys can really score, and coaches brought a system from Purdue. But what is it that's made your team good? Talk a little bit about some of your personnel or some of the things that you think has allowed you guys to have so much success.
Well, we do. We have multiple guys that can go for big nights. That's the one exciting part of this team. Ross Cummings is a really really good player for us. He set out last year. He's got a chance to be this all-time leading 3-point shooter. He puts tremendous pressure on the defense. He really really opens the floor. Neftali, who we touched on, their point guard, just great speed. Another guy, he's shooting the ball at a pretty good clip right now. He really worked on that this offseason. And then Felipe Hasse, he's a transfer from South Carolina. He's a 4-5 man that, again, shoots the ball 45% from the three-point line. And, again, it just opens up so much space for our guys. Magic Bender, a 6'11 kid playing inside, it gives him more space to work. And then you had, Jeff Gary. He was considered one of the most underrated players in the SoCon last year. He's shooting over 40%. I think he's shooting close to 50% from the three. And then we added the kid Leon Ayers, junior college kid that came from Michigan. Doesn't shoot it as well as those guys, but he's one guy that can go get basket. So we feel like we have 7 or 8 guys, when we bring them off, even bring the guys off the bench, that we can put pressure on the other team's defense because we do have multiple weapons.
Now, BK, most people don't know this. We were a really good player at Charlotte, and we had a kid back at Lamar named Nick Garth, and he was the best shooter, the all-time 3-point makes at Lamar. And I don't know that he can outshoot you. So can any of these guys outshoot you? Is the real?
Yeah, they get me. They get me every time. It's not even close. Those days are long gone, man. Long gone. When the ball leaves their hand, you just feel confident that it's going in. We're playing with good confidence right now. We have a huge, conference starts for us against VMI this week, and it's a really, really difficult place to play. We were able to sneak by there last year. We had a shot at the buzzer, and we're going to have to play well. Whenever conference starts, everybody kind of steps up their game. This is great. It's a great start, but we've got to start playing. We've got another tough stretch coming our way. Going to BMI, we go to Georgia Southern, we go back to Georgia State, we go to Kennesaw State. So it's going to be a kind of a road warrior mentality, and we'll see how tough we are, and see how we handle the different adversity as we go through the stretch.
For sure. Talk a little bit, Coach. How is this? We all know it's been challenging and different challenge for everybody. This COVID season and how you manage it, how your guys have done. I mean, it's hard to win alone one game. We know that as coaches, but to be able to get a 5-game winning streak to start the season and all this uncertainty and scheduling and everything else. Just talk a little bit about just how you guys have been able to manage that so successfully, because it is a challenging thing.
It is. And like I said, I think the biggest thing for us is we've been able to practice. I think we've missed maybe 2 practices this year where we thought we had something, but we were fortunate that the test was wrong. So it worked out well for us. And we have good seniors. I mean, we have good returners. So they've helped keep our guys focused. When you're young, it's sometimes hard to do. But when you have older guys that can kind of control that locker room for you, I think sometimes that carries a lot of weight. So we've had good success with that. And this has kind of been our first taste of it this week. We were supposed to play Elon, and that game got canceled. They had a positive test, and we were able to fill in a game on Saturday. And we weren't really dialed in at first, and we fortunate enough our talent overtook some things. But then we changed our game on Sunday. I think that was the 3rd team that we ended up playing that we had, not originally scheduled. So again, just keeping their focus on it. I think the older guys have helped us with that. This is the importance of you got to be locked in at all times.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So going forward, we know you guys are playing well. The conference is as tough as ever. always is when you get in conference play. Anything in particular that, obviously we know you guys have an older team, and some of those guys that are back are going to lead the way. Anything just particular going into conference play and kind of the rest of the season that you guys are kind of focused on, or is there a theme? Is there something that you guys are kind of locked into to keep your guys extra motivated, or is it just kind of taking one game at a time?
It's with Greg. It's one game at a time. We don't even talk about the next game. Right now we were talking about Southern Wesleyan last night, and today it's been all about VMI. That's all we talk about. It's the next game. Let's put ourselves in a position to be successful. And like I said, the biggest thing is, like I said, he keeps it very simple. Do your job. If everybody does their job, we're going to put ourselves in a position to have success. And it's worked so far. It worked last year, so I think we're going to keep sticking with it.
No doubt.
But
No doubt.
no, our conference is very good. I mean, Furman is outstanding. Greensboro is very good. Chattanooga is good. Wofford, you can go down the lines. I mean, Sanford had a huge win at Belmont. The Citadel's better this year than they were last year. VMI took Virginia Tech to the brink. I mean, it's a all-around good basketball conference that you have to come and play every day. And if you don't, you're going to lose. I mean, it's very good basketball.
For sure. For sure. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, all right? You can tell a funny story about myself or anybody else that you've worked with, but just give us one funny college basketball story. Obviously, there's a lot of stressful stuff going on and wins and losses. You've done this for a long time. You're a wily veteran. You've been at Charlotte and A&M and Lamar and App State. You've kind of been across the country. Tell us just one funny either recruiting story, coaching story, and then we'll let you go.
Man, there's a
I
bunch.
put you on the spot.
I have to think about this one for a second. Yeah, you did. You did. This is a few we can't talk about on live. I mean, on live here because
Of course.
we'll get some dudes in trouble. But just I guess just the different personalities that you think, some different people that you worked with that you're like, you would never expect it. Kind of when you see them behind the scenes, just when they let their guard down, just when the personalities come out, it is pretty funny. I don't I've got to think of a few.
I'll give you one kind of.
With that one.
I'll give you one kind of off the hook. So tell everybody what I don't know if you still do. You have a tradition that you used to do every year, showing off a little bit of your that white man can jump after all. So tell everybody a little bit about that. Or you still do that?
I've had to stop. I haven't been able to do it anymore. I used to be able to dunk every day, the first practice of every season, and that tradition has kind of went away since I turned 6. Last year, man, it wasn't so good. It was ugly. And this year, I didn't even attempt it. I was afraid I'd shoot my kneecap across the floor. So these past 2 years, no, I haven't been able to throw it down anymore.
That's all right. That's all right, man. Well, thanks so much, man, for coming on. Congratulations to the early success. I think it's awesome that, you get recognized as an assistant coach with Top Connect. You've been recognized as one of the top assistants in the country. And then for your peers to vote you as the #1 assistant in the league. And you're the new coach of the league. That normally doesn't happen. They normally give it to a vet. So a lot of respect to you, Coach. I love you, man, and great to have you on. And we'll let you have any last words you want to say, and then we'll let you run.
I appreciate it, man. It's really nice of you to say. We got a great staff here, that's for sure. I mean, we're all just dived in together. We're just trying to put the best team on the court that we can, and just be good dudes. That's what we said.